Ajay was told to cover the sensational spot on the cliff where Nagardas was fiercely attacking the enemy's army alone. Music, I am at your service before we proceed further. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe now. And if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and comment to tell us how we should improve our videos. Now, let's move toward the story. The next day was the Walima ceremony for Nakbesh. At the gathering, I heard the center say, "So what if the village women have found out about what I did? They're still impressed by me." Laughing, he even passed along thanks from his newlywed bride to me. I replied humbly, "That's nothing, my friend." He smiled and said, "Only Allah protects everyone's dignity, but not everyone can pull off such mastery." At that moment, hugged me tightly and said, "Your brave heart made us proud. Had you not been there, Shahid Pathan's brothers would have humiliated us yesterday." I replied, "Honor is in the hands of the Almighty, uncle." "Yes, son, you're right. Only He grants true dignity." I nodded and sat on the cot. Around 10 in the morning, food service began. As I was close to Durga, I was involved in the arrangements. Around 12 noon, a guest arrived and someone loudly asked, "Who is here for the meal?" I said, "He is our guest. He's here to meet your friend." I volunteered to go meet him. After taking permission, I headed toward him. He offered polite hospitality, saying, "Guests should stay right here." I replied, "Yes, that's true, but in our home, the right to first hospitality belongs to our own." He smiled and agreed. As I walked into the house, I saw Jan sitting quietly in the living room. He was also connected to the event. "Prince, it's you." I spread my arms and walked toward him. He smiled and stood up, and we both sat on the cot. He said, "You guys do WhatsApp? I'll go check on the food." Abu went inside and didn't forget to carry a teapot with him. "So, brother, how was the journey?" I asked. He replied, "No good news, I'm afraid." I asked, "What happened?" He sighed and said, "Just that my leave has been cancelled." I frowned. "Seriously?" He chuckled and said, "Why so worried?" I replied, "No, I'm happy. But won't you ask the reason?" I said, "Let me digest the news of the cancelled leave first." He said, "You're not as unlucky as you think. You're being selected for a foreign course." I asked, "What does that have to do with my leave?" He replied, "From tomorrow, a 2-week training will begin. Based on performance, 2 sharpshooters will be selected and sent to the US, where participants from other countries will also join. The first week is orientation on the Rangemaster's site, followed by an 8-week course, and certificates will be awarded based on performance." He continued, "Only the best will be sent, and our team aims to be among them." I asked in surprise, "Rangemaster, who is he?" He said, "It's a designation for snipers in the Pakistan Army who use long-range, large-caliber sniper rifles with telescope sights capable of hitting targets up to 1.5 to 2 kilometers away. They can even be used against material targets." I asked, "So when do you leave?" He said, "After 2 weeks of training, depending on the arrangements and paperwork." I asked, "So I'll be getting a proper leave then?" He asked. In surprise, "Why don't you want to go?" I said, "It's not about what I want. Senior members are still around. They won't let us move forward easily." He said, "Don't worry. If you're meant to go, you will." Just then, the elders entered with food utensils. I quickly stood up, took the dishes from his hand, and said, "You could have called me." Smiling, he said, "It's just some bread and curry, son. No burden." I pointed to my cousin and said, "Your guest has arrived." He replied, "I've already eaten." Handing food to Shehzad, I said, "I can't join right now." He teased, "Why dieting or wife didn't allow?" I said, "I just returned from Walima. No appetite left." He nodded and started eating, but didn't stop talking. Yar, your aim is deadly, and in sniping, aim is everything. You know, I met Ustad Umar Daras recently. He's the one people call the Israeli sniper," he continued. "He seemed like a fictional legend, but I met him at a friend's wedding." He said, "So your fame has spread from Punjab to Khyber?" I replied, "Fame." He burst my ego like a balloon with one comment. He said, "Fool, if someone like him is even talking about your skills, that's an honor." I nodded and asked, "How does he look?" He said, "Not much older than us. Maybe we'll get to meet him again someday." I said, "Inshallah, I'd love that." I added, "He arrived Friday and is returning today, just waiting for the bus." He nodded. "Running, jumping, all that's part of every army course," he said. The next morning, after our tough physical training, we reached the firing range. Inspector was waiting keenly. Because of the elite level, even flying instructors were present. Instructor Royapur started teaching us. "Sniping isn't new to you all, but repetition builds mastery. We'll repeat old lessons while also introducing new ones." He said, "A good sniper is skilled in hiding, camouflaging, observing, and controlling emotions. He must be mentally and physically resilient. Some of these traits are natural, others are built with time." He added, "If someone isn't naturally a good shooter, he may improve with practice. but may never become a world-class sniper. He emphasized the importance of decision-making and awareness. Asterisk. Then he asked, can anyone tell why we become visible? One student replied, due to movement, shadow, appearance, weapons, etc. Rawat Sahab said, exactly. To hide, we must avoid all these. A shepherd walking among a herd of trees can be seen from afar, but if that same shepherd gets down on his hands and knees and starts crawling, it would be nearly impossible to spot him. What do you think? We, the young soldiers, responded confidently. Exactly, sir, he continued. Similarly, wearing bright or contrasting clothes like white in the middle of bushes or tunnels is a guaranteed way to get caught. On the other hand, wearing camouflage that matches your blend in. But if you're in a snowy area, then that same camouflage will expose you. White clothing is better suited for hiding there. Also remember, he said, that in a still environment, even the slightest movement can give away your position. And on surveillance, even a minor movement can be deadly. His lectures always sparked a realization in my heart. I know so little about this subject. Every session was filled with new insights and valuable knowledge. After the lesson period, we began our firing practice, and the next 2 weeks passed with that focus. A test was scheduled after the 2 weeks, with marks heavily based on accuracy in shooting. At the end of the first week, instead of going home, I chose to stay back and prepare further. Our instructors were excellent, yet I had a deep desire to seek guidance from Ustad Umar Daraz before the competition. He was a legend, and I believed he could give me crucial advice. His village, called Sipa, was about 22 kilometers ahead. Finding his house wasn't too difficult. Due to the absence of a doorbell, I knocked. Ustad Umar Daraz himself opened the door. He looked surprised to see me, but welcomed me warmly and said, come in. As I entered, I asked, sir, I don't think I ever told you my name. How did you recognize me? He replied, that question proves you're not applying your training in real life. I asked, how so? He pointed me to a sharp-eyed cat and said, sit down. Then he explained, did you forget? The day you were all leaving, your friend called out to you by name. If a soldier can forget a name in just a week or so, that's a weakness. I was stunned. He continued, try to remember someone's name when another person calls it out. It sounds simple, but in daily life, most people can't do it. Only 1 in hundreds actually remember. I said, sir, you're incredible. I couldn't help but admire him. He chuckled, so I became incredible just for remembering one name. I smiled, sir, I can remember dozens of names at once. Alhamdulillah, I have a sharp memory. He said playfully, your style is definitely unique. Anyway, would you prefer tea or something cold? Without formality, I replied, given the weather, something cold would be better. Then, he shouted loudly, washma, and called out something to the animals. I only caught the word sharbat, a cold drink, before I could even guess who Washma was. She introduced herself. He had no sons, only 2 daughters, both married with children of their own. These days, he lived alone with his wife, which is why he had invited me straight into the house. Otherwise, in tribal culture, it's rare to take a guest directly inside. The male guest is usually received in a separate sitting area. His wife came with the sharbat and placed it on the table, then gently placed her hand on my head and said something in Pashto, which used to translated, she's asking how you are. I replied, I'm well, Mom, just need your blessings. Ustad answered on her behalf, and she smiled and left. He smiled at me and said, that's how you should speak, and began pouring the drink. Taking the glass from him. I said calmly, let's focus on what I came for. Please guide me about sharpshooting. He smiled and said, you're already a good marksman. I said, maybe, sir, but I still want to learn from you. I want to become like you, I said. He replied, and who told you that you're any less than me? I laughed and said, sir, you're saying this just to encourage me, but still, I feel honored. He said, not at all, but don't get too carried away. I replied, don't worry, sir, my ego isn't that fragile. I remember every word you said about my flaws. I've come here to correct those and more. He looked surprised and asked, don't you already have instructors there to help you? I said, yes, sir. We have excellent teachers, especially Mr. Rahim. He's an outstanding instructor, but you're their teacher's teacher. You're the one they look up to. He smiled. Well, times have changed. Many modern rifles have come now, and I'm just from the mossy old era. I said, but sir, the real essence of marksmanship, the technique hasn't changed. He smiled again and said, by the way, your friend was right or quite stubborn. I grinned and said, I'm heading back the evening after tomorrow. He asked, you didn't bring a weapon with you, did you? I shook my head. Sir, you're a soldier, you'd know all about these things. He nodded. I just asked. Actually, I do have a tracking rifle with me. Asterisk. I praised. That's great, sir. Asterisk, he explained. It's a semi-automatic sniper rifle. Make, though officially, sniper rifles are bolt action, meaning you have to manually chamber a round after each shot. This one has a range of 1,000 meters and holds 10 rounds in the magazine. The bullet is the standard 7.62 millimeters. Asterisk, he continued. It was just a hobby. I came into some money last year and decided to fulfill my wish. Wait, I'll show you. Asterisk, he headed into his room and returned holding the rifle. Its entire body gleamed. It was obvious that Ustad Umar Daraz took meticulous care of it. Asterisk, he said. Here, take a look. Asterisk, he held the rifle in both hands and handed it to me with a reverence that made it feel like he was giving me something sacred. Asterisk, as per my training. I first removed the magazine, then broke it down partially to confirm it was empty, pointing the barrel upward and checking the chamber. Then I asked, must have been expensive? Asterisk, he replied. No, I got it from a shop for slightly less. Asterisk, I smiled and said, Sir, when it's about passion, no price feels high. Asterisk, I asked, did it come with the scope? Asterisk, he laughed. What's a rifle without a scope? Asterisk, I nodded. You're absolutely right, sir. Asterisk, at that moment, the evening azan call to prayer was heard. We prayed and went to the mosque. Many people recognized me there. They hadn't forgotten my shooting demonstration on the day of the wedding. They welcomed me warmly and respectfully. Asterisk, after the prayer, several people insisted I join them for dinner, but Ustad Umar Daraz was Sabash, Patan's kind. He wouldn't let a guest eat elsewhere if he was home. Asterisk, we stayed and chatted until Isha night prayer. Afterward, Ustad brought out the rifle again and started sharing expert tips about sniping. Asterisk, he asked, do you know what factor affects a shot the most? Asterisk, without hesitation, I answered, wind. Asterisk, he nodded in approval. Correct. Wind has the most impact on a fired bullet, and you already know the greater the distance, the more it affects the bullet. A sniper must understand wind drift and its angle. Asterisk, he explained. There are 4 basic wind types: light wind, moderate wind, fresh wind, and strong wind. Asterisk, Ustad Umar Daraz went into detailed explanations about how wind influences a shot. Although I already knew many things, I still learned a lot of new concepts from him. Asterisk, after wind, he talked about other environmental factors like cold, rain, humidity, temperature, and elevation. Asterisk, finally, he said, I know you probably already know most of this, but I wanted to go over it again, just to reinforce it before tomorrow. When we apply these principles practically, do they actually help? I asked. Asterisk, he replied, not all of them, but many of them definitely stayed with me. Asterisk, he said, good, now go to sleep, it's late. In the morning, God willing, we'll do some practical training. Asterisk, as he started to leave, I quickly asked, Sir, may I ask you something before you go? Asterisk, he turned and said, of course. Ask. Asterisk, I asked, who was Yusuf Khan? Asterisk, Ustad Umar Daraz looked surprised. Who? Yusuf Khan. Asterisk, I explained. The day we came here for the wedding, someone praised my shooting and said I had fulfilled the challenge like Yusuf Khan. Asterisk, Ustad Umar Daraz smiled. Ah, he was just using a metaphor. Asterisk, I said, yes sir. Sometimes people get overly excited and say dramatic things. Asterisk, he replied, but you don't know the actual story of Yusuf Khan and his famous shooting. Asterisk, I shook my head. No sir. Asterisk, the old master thought for a moment and then said, it's a very interesting tale. Yusuf Khan and Sherbanyo were real people from this very area. You see that mountain over there from Siva village? That's Arman Pahari Desire Mountain, and at its peak is the place where their love story became legend. Asterisk, Yusuf Khan was from Lodi village and Sherbanyo was from Sherahan village. Yusuf Khan was the only son of a noble family and a passionate hunter. He also had a younger sister. He often went to Arman Mountain to hunt. He was brave, religious, and strikingly handsome. Asterisk, one day while hunting, he ran into Sherbanyo, a woman of breathtaking beauty. From the very first glance, she fell for him. She began to wait every day just to catch a glimpse of him and quench the thirst in her eyes. Eventually, she couldn't resist anymore and confessed her love. Asterisk, Yusuf Khan was no ordinary man. His looks and demeanor were such that no one could easily reject him. Though not from a wealthy background, Sherbano also belonged to a respectable family. There was no reason they couldn't marry. Asterisk, Yusuf Khan brought a formal marriage proposal to her elders. But, as is often the case in the world, people create obstacles in the path of love. Asterisk, because of Sherbano's beauty, many suitors wanted to marry her. One of them, Irfan, to outdo Yusuf, took a massive loan so big that even Irfan's entire family couldn't repay it. But Sherbano's family was lured by the money and agreed to the match. Asterisk, devastated, Yusuf Khan left his home and joined Emperor Akbar's army. He was a skilled soldier and quickly rose in the ranks. Then, one day, a small princely state asked Akbar for military help. Considering Yusuf Khan's skills, Akbar appointed him the commander of that mission. Yusuf Khan won that battle decisively. When the emperor heard of his bravery and loyalty, he called him in for an audience. During that meeting, Akbar asked why he had joined the army. Yusuf Khan told him the entire story of his love and Irfan's bribe. The emperor was so moved that he immediately ordered the full amount to be paid to Sherbano's family and even sent a unit of soldiers to escort Yusuf Khan and the money back to his village. After nearly 10 years, Yusuf Khan returned home. But fate had turned cruel. He learned that Sherbano had already been married to someone else. He received the news from a local storyteller while he was setting up camp near the village. Without wasting time, he rode straight to Sherbano's village. There, he handed over all the money at her family's doorstep. But things had changed now. There was another family involved. Sherbano's engagement was finalized with a boy from that family. They demanded Yusuf Khan leave and surrender any claim. But Yusuf, the man who had wandered the world for his beloved, was not ready to give her up. Both families clashed. A violent battle broke out. Many people from both sides died. Yusuf Khan and Sherbano, the lovers, died in that bloodshed. But the legend lived on, and some say he finally succeeded in winning her in death.